What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Therapist Logan Reacts. Today we are doing another song from Agust D. This is a song that a lot of you guys have commented, another song that's apparently very important in his catalog, his discography. This is the song Snooze by Agust D, featuring Ryuichi Sakamoto and WOOSUNG of the Rose. Let's jump right into it and give it a therapist breakdown. This is by Shadowed by Yoongi's YouTube channel.
나를 보며 꿈을 꾸고 있는 당신의 등 뒤엔 항상 내가 있으니 너무 걱정은 마라. 추락이 두렵다면 기꺼이 받아줄게. 그러니 나처럼 괴로워하지 마라. 꿈을 위해서 쭉 잠을 자는 그대 쉬어도 돼. 오늘만큼은 꿈조차도 꾸지 마라. 당신이 말없이 옅은 미소를 내게 띄워줄 때 그제서야 비로소 마음이 조금 놓여. 많이 힘들 수도 있어. 내가 걸어왔던 이 길이 꽃길 같아 보였겠지만 사방이 저기 가시밭길이었단 걸 알고 시작하길. 꽃을 뿌려주는 일을 절대 너는 잊지 말기. 웃고 있을 때 우는 일을 절대 잊지 마. 그들은 네 미소에 하루를 살아가니까. 반복되는 일종 속 내가 지워진
I really like that line. Never forget the one who cries when you're laughing, 'cause they'll live a day on your smile. So it's like, I don't know, though this just stuck out to me. I needed a second to process this one. The ones who cry when you're laughing. Cries when you're laughing. It's like there's a spot, because they'll live a day on your smile. Interesting. I don't know. This makes me think of like, never forget the ones who cry when you're laughing, like the saddest people kind of around when when you're laughing, you know, like the saddest people around, like, because they'll live a day on your smile. Like they're so sad and they may cry on it, but it's like while you're laughing, like they'll end up crying, but like they could live a day. It's like that healing to the individual who may be like that depressed or battling with depression, or again just the sadness that may be kind of in them, whether it's grief or whatever. Just not feeling like who they are. But that's just, this one sticks out to me. It's just like, again, recognize the people who are meaningful in your life. At least that's what steps out to me. Again, just being those people to kind of uplift, and like they say, like the funniest people who like make you laugh and all these different things, like they're usually like the saddest. And usually that's because there's this drive to, like, they know what it's like to be like sad and depressed, like severely depressed, and in doing so they're able to recognize that like they never want anybody else to feel like that. So what they'll do in return is they'll like project all humor, and they'll really get like fine-tuned. So these are like your really witty friends, your very funny friends, people that like just naturally funny, just can like think of something on a dime. One of those people that you just like immediately think of that's like, wow, like I wish I was as funny as them, or like think like those people. Watch out for those people, because those people tend to be a little bit more depressed. And that's kind of what I'm getting from this, is again like being able to see like someone smile, and like getting them to smile is like enough to like make their day, and like they'll live a full day just based on that alone, because it's so healing to them, because they're like, okay, like this person's, I'm contributing to this person not being sad for a day, whether it's a small just a smile or like when you're laughing. So definitely something to be aware of. And again, just look out for your friends in general. Doesn't have to be just the funniest person, you know. You never really know what people are battling across the board. So like just reach out to your friends. You know, it's somebody you haven't texted in a long time or really connected with, or it's been a while since you messaged them, like shoot them a text today. Shoot them a text after this video, you know, or while this video continues on, because again, like you never know what they're going through, and it can make all the difference in the world, you know, especially again as you grow older, like people grow apart, and it's understandable and it's okay. But that's gonna be my challenge, that for anybody watching, to text somebody that you care about that you haven't texted in a while, and just do a check-in. You know, it's hard to with life to be able to take a stop and kind of do that. But let's continue on.
하루를 살아가니까. 반복되는 일종 속 내가 지워질 때 벅찬다면 괜찮아. 그대 조금 쉬어도 돼. 크게 울어줘 세상이 미워질 때 널 반기던 손이 손가락질로 변했을 때 한숨 크게 쉬고 시발 족간 내 외출도 돼 너 또한 누구와 다르지 않은 사람에게 이 괴롭고 외로운 길을 넌 왜 선택했을까 그 이후로 시간이 지나도 절대 잊지 마 당신들의 꿈들이 꿈들로만 남지 않게 언제 어디서든 나 당신들을 응원할게 떨어질 때 감싸줄게 Night 한계가 깨고 흩어질 때 떠나갈게
Sorry, I knocked my headphones out. My apologies. Just want to make sure everything's still good. Oh.
나를 보며 꿈을 꾸고 있는 당신의 등 뒤에 항상 내가 있으니 너무 걱정은 말아 추락이 두렵다면 기꺼이 받아줄게 그러니 나처럼 괴로워
This was in the first part too. If you're afraid of falling, I'll gladly take it so you don't suffer like me. Again, we've talked about Sugar and Agust D kind of like wanting to take on a lot of the pain and suffering that may be around him. And it's self-sacrificing in a way, but again, like it's I think a very noble desire, noble intent maybe. Because again, you want to take on like it reminds me of kind of like the idea, if you've ever watched the anime Naruto, like he always wanted to take on his friend's pain. Like he always wanted to take on their suffering because he wanted to make sure that they never felt lonely. I think that's kind of what he's getting at. And he's willing to do that because he's been through difficult things. He's been through significant loss or whatever. And I think Agust D is honestly just like recognizing like I can do it. I can take on this adversity. I can take on this pain. I can take on anything that's needed of me in order for you to limit or minimize your suffering as needed because he's again suffered so significantly. And I think again that's a very noble thing, but again there's a thing he got to be careful of in doing so. That may becomes your normal, and then you recognize and connect the idea that I'm only valuable if I'm able to take away other people's suffering. So then that can be kind of conjoined to your identity, which he'd really have to be careful of, because then it's not so much like a noble intention, it's more of like a maladaptive, almost like a self-harm practice if it becomes too ingrained in your identity. So this would be a really important thing for a therapist to kind of explore, like the intention of it, and just making sure they don't forget what the intention of, again, helping others suffer by taking on their suffering as well. Again, like in a way, it's very therapeutic. I think if it's, again, coming from the intent of like, I don't want you to walk alone, like I'll gladly take it. I would wonder what meaning behind that sentence would be. Like, not so much take it, but I'll walk with you through it. You won't be alone in it. That's kind of, again, the therapeutic process is like, I can't process your trauma for you. I can't explain your trauma for you. I can't make you feel better. It's what I can do is I can walk with you through it. I can ask you questions that may give you a different perspective, and I can sit in the shit with you. And I think that's, again, maybe where he's kind of getting at. He's getting at that kind of psychological therapeutic component. And I see why it connects with a lot of people, because I'm sure all bit of army recognizes, again, the mental health that's kind of in that. And each one of you, even as fans, and anyone that's supporting me too, is you all have been through significant things in your life, and they've all shaped you to the person you're being. So being able to see somebody kind of write songs in a deeper level, I understand now why there's such a deeper connection to these lyrics, especially like the significant songs you guys have been commenting. So let's continue on.
하지 마라 꿈을 위해서 쪽잠을 자는 그대 쉬어도 돼 오늘만큼은 꿈조차도 꾸지 마라 당신이 말없이 어떤 미소를 내게 띄워줄 때 그제서야 비로소 마음이 조금 놓여 이곳은 정성 없는 너는 전쟁터야 같은 동료들이 적야 숫자가 보여주는 잔인하고도 이쁜 선악 남을 죽이지 못하면 내가 죽어야 돼이 바닥은 링이 아닌데 왜 누굴 죽여야 해 단순히 좋아했던 일이 조금은 싫어질 때 바람들이 바람에 사무쳐 휩쓸려갈 때 괜찮아 지나보면 모든 것이 추억이고 수업이 돼 잊지 마라 세상은 네 내심이 그리게
This is okay. So he has some nice lines here. If oh, not that one. Not that one. When you hate something you simply liked when wishes are blown away by the wind. It's like, oh wow, that's huge. It's like you're falling. It's very much again leaning towards like the depressive symptoms, depressive ideologies. It's like falling away from things that you're interested in, things that you care for, things that you value. You know, and like when you hate something but like you're supposed to like it, or you did like it and you just no longer do, there's that loss of passion, that loss of ambition that falls through it or bleeds through it. And then when wishes are blown away by the wind, it's like, who's really listening to you when you really need it the most, you know? And it's okay, everything becomes memories and lessons when you look past it. That is true. It's very true. And there's always a lot of people think too, like if you go through experiences and they're maybe negative or maybe not so positive, you kind of look at them as failures. But the memories and lessons, if you're able to remember part of it, there's always a chance you can learn a lesson from it. And if you learn a lesson from it, there's always some gain. And it's only failure if you don't gain anything from it. And I know that's difficult for some people to understand, but it's like you're gaining knowledge. You know, you may not have gained the successes or the thing that you were setting out to, but if you've gained something from it, it's not a total failure. Like you're progressing in some way, whether it's 1%, 0.%, anything. Like the knowledge you get from a failed experience allows you to again benefit in some way that's more beneficial to your future. So it's very important to kind of this perspective. I really like that he kind of pointed those things out. It's a really good reframe, especially for depression symptoms, you know, like lessons thing. And then again, he said, don't forget the world is impatient. Time continues on whether you like it or not. It doesn't wait for anybody. It doesn't wait for your sadness. It doesn't wait for your anxiety. It doesn't wait for your OCD, narcissism. It doesn't wait for your depression. It doesn't wait for anything. It doesn't wait for your pain or trauma or grief. Nothing. Time continues on. The march continues. The next steps is thing. And I think that's why it's so important to continue moving on as at your pace, but there's always a step that can be taken, you know? And if it's important too, and one of my favorite metaphors for this too, and when I say take step forwards too, it doesn't necessarily mean you always have to be moving in the sense that like you can't take a break, because resting is a huge part of being able to prolong and go further. A lot of the times I feel like people like have similar sayings to like, oh, I hit a wall, or I can't go any further. This wall's in my way. I can't figure it out. Like I'm trying to continue on. I don't know where I heard it, and I can't say who. I don't know who said it, but one of my favorite metaphors to kind of run with that is like, there's a barrier, or like the wall seems like a barrier for you right now, but another way you could reframe it is a wall's also another nice place for you to lean up against and rest. And sometimes that's what you need. Maybe you don't need to break through the wall, climb under it, climb over it, get around it, break through it. Sometimes you hit that wall so your body can rest, your mind can rest, your psyche can rest. It's important for you to take that rest, because rest is important in the recovery and the constant growth that you kind of go through. So that's kind of just, again, what it is. So like, it is impatient. Keep moving forward, but sometimes you will hit a wall. And moving forward doesn't always look like activity. You can rest. Resting for yourself and growing and being able to give yourself the time to recuperate is part of moving forward, but you have to be ready for that and be aware of, kind of in tune yourself. So be more self-aware of what's going on in your body and kind of how you're viewing things. So yeah, but let's continue.
나라 세상은 네 내심이 그리 길진 않아 남의 논란에 절대 웃지 말게 또한 그 순간이 올지 모르니 너의 성공은 목줄이자 족쇄가 될 거거든 외출 타는 기분들이 너를 덮칠 거야 그냥 크게 웃어줘.
So I just want to point this one out. I feel like this is a lot of a lot of what a lot of comments are pointing out too. Like they talked about their struggles with success and like being in the limelight and just being like popular. You know, your successes will be your leash and shackles. You know, like that frame of mind. Like that's just it's just such a rough thing. And it definitely makes you feel for the individual. You know, like that they push through such things and just leash and shackles. Like how dehumanizing that could be. And again, it's like his success, something that's supposed to bring him comfortability, happiness, and everything. It's just like is met with such an inhumane kind of feeling that again is just it's just heartbreaking that, you know what I mean, that was like his perspective at a time, and even maybe is still partially today. You know, it's something that he's definitely going to constantly have to work through.
줄이자 족쇄가 될 거거든 또 외출 타는 기분들이 너를 옥죄 거야 그냥 크게 웃어줘 세상이 떠나가든 그냥 버텨줘 당신이 어디 있든 당신들의 꿈들이 꿈들로만 남지 않게 언제 어디서든 날 당신들을 응원할게
WOOSUNG is actually very good at singing too. Shout out him. Look at that jawline.
다 괜찮아질 거야 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 다 괜찮아질 거야.
So the fact that he's saying like these things, like everything will be all right, and he says it and he's convincing himself, like I've talked about this in another song too, like it sounds like he's trying to convince himself, and there's nothing wrong with that. There sometimes having a mantra, having something that helps you focus, having something that helps you kind of get through difficult times, sometimes that's what you need. You don't necessarily have to believe it, but that's what a mantra's for. It's supposed to be a structured component, even when you necessarily don't believe it. But saying it over and over, making it a pattern, you eventually start to believe it. And that's why a lot of therapists do offer that as a coping skill, and having that structured mantra, like being able to look at yourself in the mirror and say one nice thing about yourself every morning, you know? Whether it's something as small as, you woke up today, I'm proud of you for that. You know, like eventually that does something to the psyche, something to the subconscious, something to the conscious. Like it's a building moment, and I think that's what he needs right now. And I think I love that he's able to kind of do that. Even if he's trying to convince himself, even if he doesn't believe it, he's still trying to do it. He's trying to protect himself. And I love that in like a trauma therapeutic sense, you know? Because that's all we're trying to do at the day. We're trying to survive. We're all trying to survive in our own way. And if that's what he needs right now, that's what he needs.
다 괜찮아질 거야 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 Dream 그대의 창조와 삶의 끝에 함께하길 Dream 그대의 자리가 어딜지라도 관대하길 Dream 결국 실현의 끝에 만개하길 Dream 시작은 미약할지언정 끝에 참배하길.
I love this that he uses like last bit to kind of just be like just promote happiness, like no matter where you are, be generous. It's like pass along the positivity to your next fellow man, woman, child, whatever it may be, you know. It's again spreading that positivity and love, because eventually it will get back to you, and again I hope it will bloom. It's just a beautiful sentiment. I really think it's important, you know, and but the end may be great, and just dream, you know, I mean, just dreaming. I think that's again where the snooze comes in, because again, resting, like snoozing and sleeping, is important because that's where dreams can be made, you know, and dreams change, whether they're figurative, metaphorical, whatever it may be, and that's why they're important, though. They're important to us because they're so deeply connected to who we want to be, what our values are, all these different aspects of our subconscious, you know. There's so many different things regarding psychology and dreams. If anything, look up Carl Jung or Freud or literally anything that has to do with sleep analysis or dream analysis. And yeah, it's very important. So just keep that in mind while we finish up.
당신의 등 뒤엔 항상 내가 있으니 너무 걱정은 마라 추락이 두렵다면 기꺼이 받아줄게 그러니 나처럼 괴로워하지 마라 꿈을 위해서 쪽잠을 자는 그대 쉬어도 돼 오늘만큼은 꿈조차도 꾸지 마라 당신이 말없이 옅은 미소를 내게 띄워줄 때 그제서야 비로소 마음이 조금 놓여 Dream.
So that wraps up our song. That wraps up Shadow by Yoongi, Agust D's Snooze featuring Ryuichi Sakamoto and WOOSUNG of the Rose. Really nice song. Definitely some deep meaning there. I definitely didn't get to everything. There was a lot of deep components. This one was interesting, and I think there's more deeper meaning that maybe like the fans. I don't know. It seems like there was a lot more components kind of Snooze. I'd be really curious to see if he's ever explained anything about it, or if any of the fans have done a deep search. You know, leave that in the comments below. I'd love to know a little bit more backstory behind this song. I'd be really curious just to read onto that and just see kind of how it would connect more to kind of the things that I was able to point out. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments down below too. I'm curious. I definitely missed a bunch, so please be aware that I know that there was a lot to this song. But yeah, I love more information, and I love just knowing more backgrounds to certain aspects, because again, I'm not privy to a lot of these things, and again, as a therapist, we have to be able to take what we're getting and kind of work with what we got, you know. All the metaphorical and subjective components that came along with the song. So yeah, so make sure you leave a comment down below. Make sure you give this video a like too. You guys have been very supportive. You guys have been very much liking this route and these reactions lately, so I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe too, so we can, again, make this channel, grow a community, and do some really cool reactions to some really cool songs and other different types of media. So make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next video. See ya.